Hello everyone, welcome back to Let's Crack J in English, the channel of an academy. And I am Jitendra Dikshit. Here is my profile. I did my BTech from IIT Kanpur and I have been mentoring IT JEE aspirants for last 11 years. So today we are going to continue circles and this will be the last session. In this session I'll discuss radical access, okay? But before we begin, let me tell you about the Unacademy subscription. So as you know, Unacademy is India's largest online learning platform. And if you are preparing for ITJ, then you're going to have two types of subscription on Unacademy. One is Plus subscription. In this subscription, you can watch live sessions of all the educators who are teaching on an academy. So, you know, as India's top educators are teaching on an academy, so you can watch their live sessions. You can follow educator of your choice. You can join any courses, any course. And the courses which are the courses taken by the educators are well structured. That means everything is pre-planned. You can see the schedule of all the upcoming sessions in well advance. And all the live tests and quizzes will also be accessible to you. And during the live sessions, you can chat with your educator, you can ask your doubts, and you can participate in polls. These sessions are very interactive. And also, if you miss something, you can watch these sessions offline as well by downloading them because all these sessions are recorded. All right. So, in short, this is the unlimited access which you get on the platform once you buy the Plus subscription. Now, these are the subscription charges. You can subscribe for 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 12, and 24 months. So, left hand side, you can see the actual price list, and right hand side, you can see there's other price list, which is actually after 10% discount. So, you get this discount once you use a code. So, you can use any educator's code. You can use my referral code also, JEET1. And you'll get instant 10% discount on any of the subscription. Now, the second one is Iconic subscription. In Iconic subscription, you get all the benefits of Plus. So whatever I have told you in Plus, you'll get all those benefits. And apart from that, you'll get a personal coach as well, who will guide you throughout your preparation for IDJ. Your test analysis will be done in a personalized manner. Okay, and your feedback will be given to you, improving it to improve your time management and exam approach. Personalized feedback, and your study planner will also be customized. Bi-weekly reviews will be given to you, highlighting your progress. So all these benefits you'll get in Iconic. These are additional benefits which you are getting in Plus. Addition to that, all right. So this was about the Iconic subscription, and you can take this Iconic subscription for 6 months, 12 months, and 24 months. All right. And price list you can see 38,000, 65,000, and 1 lakh respectively for these three subscriptions. And yes, of course, you'll get 10% discount in these subscriptions also by using the referral code. So you can use the same referral code JEET1 or to get the 10% discount. All right. Now, this is an Academy's learning app which you can download from Play Store, and after downloading it, you can start your preparation. You can watch. You'll have to make an account. So if you are a new learner, you'll have to use a referral code. So again, you can use the same referral code to access unlimited free content on the platform like quizzes and tests and free live classes. So free live classes are taken by the top educators of an academy, and these classes are free to everyone. Okay, anyone can watch these live sessions. These are basically live sessions as well. And you can see, you can chat with your educator, you can participate in poll. So every day a lot of educators take these classes. So every time whenever you log in, you can see there are a lot of special classes going on. So you can learn unlimited without paying anything on an academy. All right. This is about the Spark batch for class 11th. Okay, it has started on 21st of December. So you can see the educators, top educators who are taking this batch for JEE Main and Advanced 2023. And this is another batch, MCQ batch, which is for JEE Main and Advanced 2021. And you can see it has also started on December 21. And again, you can see the top educators who are taking this batch, all right, with all the details, with their experience, okay, subject. So you can join these batches, which I'm just These batches are just started. Manzil batch, okay, so Manzil batch started on 24th of December. You can see the educators who are taking this batch, and the another batch is rank J rank booster 2.0 batch started on 24th of December. This has also started on 24th of December. Now this is the these are the upcoming batches in December, so they will start from 28th of December. All right, so 28th of December they have already started, and you can see the educators who are going to teach. The list of the name of the educators are given, and first is H for class 12th, JEE and Advanced 202, 2022, and Excellence for class 11th, JEE and Advanced 2022. All right, so these are the batches which are starting in December, last week of December. All right, now let's begin the topic. So we were going to do radical axis. Okay, so radical axis, what is radical axis first of all? Okay, so radical axis see, radical axis is for two circles. Okay, so suppose let S1 is equal to 0 and S2 is equal to 0, represent two circles. All right, then locus of a point which moves in such a way that length of tangents drawn from that point to S1 and S2 are equal. Okay, so I'll write it. Suppose this is first circle and this is another circle. All right, then P is a point, okay, from where tangents drawn to these two circles are of equal length. This is PA and this is PB. All right, so PA and PB are of equal length. So locus of a point which moves such that length of tangents drawn from the point to two circles are equal. Okay, so tangents are basically of equal length. That means if P is the moving point, then PA is equal to PB. Okay, this is S1 is equal to 0 and this is S2 is equal to 0. You can take P as X comma Y. Okay, so this locus is a line. Okay, this locus is a line and that line is called radical axis. So locus of point which moves such that length of tangents drawn from the point to two circles are of equal length is a line, and that line is called radical axis. Okay, so if let's say P is the point and lengths of tangents are PA and PB, so P is equal to PB, and what is the length? Length, with respect to x comma y, length is under root of S1 and this length is under root of S2, right? So we have equated the lengths, and after squaring we'll get this equation S1 minus S2 is equal to 0, right? Now you can see that S1 minus S2 is equal to 0. S1 minus S2 is equal to 0 will represent a line actually, right? We already know it, and that line is something like this in this case. Okay, line will look like this. So this S1 minus S2 was common tangent when circles were touching each other, common chord when circles were intersecting, but it is always a radical axis no matter what is the position of circle. Okay, if it does exist. In one case it will not exist, I'll tell you that case. So that means in this case, this S1 minus S2 is a line. If I write S1 is x square plus y square plus 2g1x plus 2f1y plus c1, and S2 is equal to x square plus y square plus 2g2x plus 2f2y plus c2. All right. So that S1 minus S2 you can see is 2 times of g1 minus g2 into x plus 2 times of f1 minus f2 into y plus c1 minus c2 is equal to 0. This is S1 minus S2, right? So you can see this line. This line is called radical axis. Okay, sir. And from this line, if you take any point in this line, lengths of tangent will always be equal. This tangent will be equal to this tangent lengthwise. Okay, take any point on this line, lengths of tangent will always be equal. Okay, these two are equal. These two are equal length. All right. So now let's see if circles touch each other in this position. So in various cases, I'll show you how this radical axis look like. When circles touch each other, this S1 minus S2 becomes a common tangent, passing through their common point of contact. So this line is S1 minus S2. It is common tangent and radical axis. Radical axis and common tangent also, right? And common tangent. So common tangent itself is a radical axis. You can easily see geometrically also in this case that take any point on this circle, on this line, and draw this tangent, another tangent. You can draw two tangents, so you can see PA is equal to PQ, right? And also draw a tangent from this. This is PB. So length of tangents are equal. So PA is equal to PQ for this circle, and PB is equal to PQ for this S2 circle, right? So that means PA is equal to PQ is equal to PB. It is quite visible, right? It is visible in this case. Okay. So common tangent is radical axis. That means from any point on the common tangent, if you draw two tangents to both the circles, they will be of equal length. Third is, suppose circles are intersecting circles. And then see how would this diagram be. Suppose this is the position of one circle, this is another circle, and if you draw a line, take a point on this line P, draw this PA and PB. Again, geometrically you can see PA, by definition we know that under root of S1 is equal to under root of S2, so S1 is equal to S1 minus S2 is equal to 0 will always be the radical axis, okay? And geometrically also we can see PQ into PR is equal to PA square, right? So PA is equal to what? PA, you can write PA is equal to under root of PQ into PR, power of point, right? With respect to circle S1, power of point, can you see this? PQ is equal to PR. And with respect to circle S2, PB is also what? PB is also under root of PQ into PR. So it is also quite visible, right? In this case also. So yes, PB, PA is equal to PB. That means PA is equal to PB. Geometrically we can see, and obviously by definition, though we can see it easily. Now the fourth case. The fourth case is when circles touch each other internally, okay? When circles touch each other internally. Then this is the line. which is common tangent. It is also S1 minus S2 is equal to 0. So in this case also radical axis will be like this, and we can see that PA is equal to PB is equal to PC, right? PA is equal to PB is equal to PC. And in this case also we can say PA is equal to PC and PB is equal to PC, so that means PA is equal to PB, right? Yeah. And the fifth case, so again equation will always remain same whatever the case is. Fifth case is when one circle is inside the another circle, but they are not concentric. Okay, they're not concentric. This is like, okay, centers are not same. So in this case also radical axis will be like this, and this is S1 minus S2 is equal to 0. All right, so you can draw tangent to this, and tangent to this will be all of equal length. PA is equal to PB. So I hope you are able to visualize these cases. Okay. Now the sixth case. Now to remember, when circles are concentric, then radical axis will not exist. Okay. Radical axis. There's no point from where you can draw tangents of equal length to these two circles. Okay. We can prove it geometrically also. I'll show you. So in this case, there's no point where PA is equal to PB. Okay, not possible. PA is equal to PB is not possible. Okay, so radical axis does not exist in this case. I'll tell you two logic. First of all, see this, if circles are concentric, this G1 minus G2 will become 0 and F1 minus F2 will become 0, because then G1 and F1 will be same, G1 G2 will be same, F1 F2 will be same, right? So you can see coefficient of x and coefficient of y will vanish, and these terms will vanish, and there will be C1 is equal to C2. So that means radical axis does not exist using this formula. And geometrically, if you want to see, then I'll show you in next page. See, if circles are concentric, I'm saying that there's no point in the plane from where you can draw tangents to these two circles which are of equal length. Okay, that is my point. So I'm making two circles with same center, and then we'll draw this is the point. Okay, this is PA and say this is PB. Okay, let's take this tangent. So I'm taking any point randomly, inside, outside, anywhere you can take, doesn't matter. Inside, obviously you can't take inside S1. Okay, this is S1 because you can't draw a tangent then. So it should be outside both the circles. Okay, this is quite obvious. Now see, P is the point, PA and PB. These we are assuming that PA is equal to PB. Okay, so you can see if I draw, this is the radius R2 and this is the radius R1. Okay. This is the radius R1. R1 is not equal to R2, we know this, right? R1 is not equal to R2. Circles are concentric but of different radius. If I join this center, common center, which is say point O, okay? Let's take this point O. O is not origin, O can be any point. So now geometrically, we can say that if I write PA, then this is a right angle triangle, then PA is nothing but under root of OP square minus R1 square, right? This is PA. And PB is basically under root of OP square minus R2 square. Alright, so these are the lengths PA and PB. PA is OP square minus R1 square, PB is under root of OP square minus R2 square. So these are the lengths. Now see, because R1 is not equal to R2, so obviously OP square minus R1 square, so under root of OP square minus R1 square is not equal to under root of OP square minus R2 square, right? Because we are subtracting R1 from OP square, R1 square, and then we are subtracting R2 square from OP square. R1 and R2 are different, so you'll get different values. Quite obvious, right? So you can say PA cannot be equal to PB, hence proved, right? So geometrically we can show this, that there's no point in the plane from where you can draw tangents of equal length to two concentric circles. All right, so radical axis does not exist only in this case. I hope this point is clear now. All right, now some properties related to radical axis. I've already told you all the cases when this radical axis becomes common tangent and common chord. Now in some cases we just want to see. Okay, so the first case, radical axis is perpendicular always perpendicular to line joining centers of the circles. So radical axis is of two circles, of course. So radical axis, let me write it. Radical axis of two circles, all right. So radical axis of two circles is always perpendicular to line joining the centers of the circle, right? We can see this easily. I'll show you. This is the first circle. This is another circle. Okay. Now see, if I take these circles S1 and S2, as S1 is x square plus y square plus 2g1x plus 2f1y plus c1, and S2 is x square plus y square plus 2g2x plus 2f2y plus c2. Okay, you can take any case, like it's not necessary that you should draw the diagram like this. You can take but that won't affect because I'm proving it using the equations. Okay, so S1 minus S2 is basically radical axis. Equation of radical axis is 2 times of g1 minus g2 into x plus 2 times of f1 minus f2 into y plus c1 minus c2 is equal to 0, right? Now you can see this, suppose center is A and center of this is B, then we can write slope of AB also. So slope of AB, okay, we can write slope of this line M1. Let's say slope of this line is M1, and M1 we can see is minus of G1 G2 upon F1 minus G1 minus G2 upon F1 minus F2, and you know this point is minus G1 minus F1, and this point is minus G2 minus F2, right? So slope, let's write the slope. Slope is f2 minus f1 divided by g2 minus g1, right? y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1. This is slope m2. Clearly you can see that m1 m2 is equal to minus 1. So if m1 m2 is equal to minus 1, that means radical axis is perpendicular to line joining centers, right? Hence proved. We have proved it easily. Radical axis is always joined perpendicular to line joining centers, but it is not dividing it is not dividing the centers in some particular ratio, all right, that you should remember, all right. So I have this point is clear. Now the second point is quite obvious, but I'll mention it. Radical axis bisects the common tangents of two circles. So suppose the two circles have direct common tangents or transverse common tangents, then radical axis will bisect these two. Look at the diagram, you'll understand it easily. I'll tell you one diagram which is very important. Okay, so let me show you this. Okay, this is A and this is B. These are the centers. Now see, have a look at this diagram. If I draw a direct common tangent, okay, this is direct common tangent, and this is also direct common tangent. Okay, this is one transverse common tangent. This is also one transverse common tangent. Transverse common tangent, it's a direct and transverse common tangent, tangent intersect at line joining centers only, but direct common tangents will intersect outside, yeah, right, somewhere outside. And they divide the centers in the ratio of their radii, right? This point, say this point is P, then P divides A and B in the ratio of R1 is to R2. R1 is this is R1 and this is R2. But R1 is to R2, so that means P is not the midpoint, okay? Now see, and P is not either the midpoints of tangents. So radical axis is not passing through P. Radical axis will pass through the midpoint. So say the midpoint of this tangent is this, the midpoint is this, midpoint is this, midpoint. So generally students do this mistake. They in some geometrical questions they take radical axis passing through point P. Okay, so I'm mentioning this point. This P is not the midpoint of tangents. Okay, if this point is C, this point is C dash. If this point is D, this point is D dash. If this point is A, this point is A dash. If this point is B, this point is B dash. Okay, then these are the midpoints of A dash. Say this point is M1, this point is M2, this point is M3, and this point is M4. Okay, so all four tangents, whether transverse or direct, they are bisected by this line which is radical axis. Okay, how to show this? This is very easy because we know the definition of radical axis. If M1 is the point, so from M1 you can see tangents drawn to both the circles must be of equal length, because that is the definition. So tangents, if you draw tangents from point M1, MA1 will be tangent to first circle S1 and MA2 will be the tangent to another circle. So obviously they will be of equal length, right? Similarly, this is M2. From M2, if you draw the tangents, then this MA2, MC1, MC into MC dash, they will be of equal length. That is the definition, right? So these two must be equal. So from any point on the radical axis, if you draw the tangents, they will be of equal length. That's why by that logic, you can say that these direct or transverse common tangents will be bisected by the radical axis. So I hope this point is clear to everyone. All right. Same as for M3 and M4. Now the third property of radical axis. Third property. Third property is center of a circle center of any circle which cuts two given circles say S1 and S2 lies on the radical axis. Okay, radical axis radical axis of S1 and S2. Okay, and its radius is equal to length of tangent drawn from the point given point. Okay, so this point was P. Okay, so what I'm saying, I'll explain through this diagram. Suppose you have two circles. Okay, so I'm saying any circle which cuts these two circles orthogonally, all right. Okay, wait a minute. Any circle which cuts these two circles orthogonally, center of that circle will lie, and vice versa. That means if you take any point on the radical axis and draw tangents to these two circles which are of length PA and PB, equal length. If you take center at P1, center of a circle at P1, and radius is equal to PA and PB, okay, PA or PB, then this circle will cut this new circle whose center is at P and radius is equal to PA and PB will cut these two circles orthogonally, okay? Or converse of this statement is any circle which cuts S1 and S2 orthogonally, center of any circle which cuts S1 and S2 orthogonally lies on the radical axis of S1 and S2, all right. And if you draw a circle whose center is at radical axis and radius is equal to length of tangent from that point to S1 or S2, will cut S1 and S2 orthogonally, all right. So in this way you can say this. See, it is very easy to figure out. I'm assuming that P is the center. I'm taking P is the center of the circle. P is center, and this P is equal to R. Okay, but I don't know whether it cuts the given circles S1 and S2 orthogonally or not. Okay, I don't know that. But I know this thing that PA is tangent. I know this thing that PA is tangent to S1, right? I know this. And I also know that PB is also tangent, okay? PB is tangent. So PA, which is actually tangent of S1, is actually normal of this new circle S, right? Because it is passing through the center of S, right? So if tangent of one circle becomes normal of another, then they actually cut each other orthogonally, right? So it's quite visible, right? So proving point is very simple in this. Similarly, if I show you the diagram further, if I draw radius from this point, right? Can you see this? This radius from the center, C1 say, okay? So can you see this angle is 90 degree, okay? This angle is 90 degree. And because this angle is 90 degrees, so this radius is going to be the tangent to S. Why? Because it is perpendicular to normal of S. This PA is normal, no? PA is normal. Okay, PA is normal. So C1A will be tangent. Why tangent? Because it is radius is perpendicular to PA. Because PA was tangent to S1 and normal to S. Are you getting this point? So in any circle, if tangent of one circle becomes normal of another, that means they cut each other orthogonally. Okay, this is a simple point to understand. So you can see this tangents are at right angle tangents of both the circles. C1A is the tangent of S and PA is the tangent of S1. Okay, and they are mutually perpendicular, hence they cut each other orthogonally. All right, so now I hope this point is clear. Now Now let's say radical center. Radical center. See what is radical center? Radical center of three circles, okay? Of three circles. Radical centers of three circles. So suppose three circles are given. One is S1, so this is S1, S2, and S3. So S1, S2 and S3 be three circles. Then their radical axis S1 minus S2 is equal to 0, S2 minus S3 is equal to 0, and S3 minus S1 is equal to 0 are concurrent at a point which is called radical center, of three circles, of the circles. All right, so what he's saying is that radical axis of S1 and S2, which is this line, radical axis of S1 and S3, and radical axis of S2 and S3, they are concurrent at a point. So this point is O. Take any point O. This is S1 minus S2 is equal to 0. This is S2 minus S3 is equal to 0. And this is S3 minus S1 is equal to 0. Alright. So these three are actually concurrent at a point. And this point is called radical center. So first of all, let's see whether they are concurrent or not. Okay. We know that, say this line is L1. Okay. This line is L1, this line is L2, and this line is L3. So any line, see, we know that L1 and L2 will intersect at some point, okay, L1 and L2. So any line passing through the point of intersection of L1 and L2 is given by L1 plus lambda L2, right, is equal to 0. So L1 is basically, L1 is S1 minus S2 plus lambda times of L2 is S2 minus S3 is equal to 0. So now you can see, if you take lambda is equal to some number, say you can take lambda is equal to 2, lambda is equal to 3, lambda is equal to 4, so that line will pass through O, right? Should pass through O. So for some value of lambda, it should become L3 also, because if L3 is passing through O, then for some value of lambda, it should become L3 also. L3 is S1 minus S3 or S3 minus S1. So can you see, do you have any value in this equation? You can see if lambda is equal to 1, right? If you see, if lambda is equal to 1, S2 and S2 will get cancelled. It is S1 minus S2 plus S2 minus S3 is equal to 0. And this line is S1 minus S3 is equal to 0, which is nothing but L3 is equal to 0. Okay? So L3 belongs to this family, the family of lines passing through the point of intersection of L1 and L2. So hence we can say that L3 is also passing through the point of intersection of L1 and L2. So this is a small proof of this. Okay. So that means all three radical axes are always concurrent at a point, or always concurrent at a point, no matter what is the position of these three circles. And that point is called radical center. Okay. And from radical center, if you draw tangent from radical center to these circles, okay, then these tangents will be of equal length. 6 tangents you can draw, right? 2 tangents to each circle, right? So you can see these 6 tangents. These 6 tangents are of equal length. And if you draw a circle taking these lengths of tangents as diameter, OA, OB, OC, OD, OE and OF, and center at O, then this green circle, okay, this is only one such circle will exist, will cut all three circles orthogonally, all right? Will cut all three circles orthogonally. So if we ask you to find the equation of circle which cuts three given circles orthogonally, that means first of all you need to find the radical center, then you need to find the radius of the circle by finding the length of tangent, which you can find easily after finding the center, okay, radical center, and then you can write the equation of the such circle. Now let's do one problem based on this. One straightforward. The radical, find the radical center of x square plus y square is equal to 4. Second is x square plus y square minus 10x. Okay, so these three circles are given. Find the radical center of these three circles first thing. This is the first example. Try this one. All right, so let's see how to find. Say this circle is S1, this circle is S2, and this circle is S3. So if I find S1 minus S2, if I find S1 minus S2, write it as minus 4 is equal to 0. It is going to be x square, y square will get cancelled. You'll get 10x, 10x minus 24 minus 4 is equal to 0. So it is actually 5x minus 14 is equal to 0. First equation, one radical axis, and then you can do S1 minus, you can do S1 minus S3 also, right? So let's do S1 minus S3. You can write just two radical axes, okay, for that. So I'm using this and this. So if you subtract, you'll get 12x is equal to 0. You'll get 12x plus 8y. This is y, I'm sorry. This is 8y, okay, minus 36 and minus 4 is equal to 0. So now you can see you can divide it by 4. So it is 3x plus 2y minus 10 is equal to 0. Okay, so from first equation you will get x is equal to 14 by 5. Okay, x is equal to 14 by 5, and if you put x is equal to 14 by 5, it is 3 into 14 by 5 plus 2y is equal to 10. So 2y is equal to 50 minus 42 divided by 5. All right, so it is going to be y is equal to, you can calculate it, it is 8, so 4 upon 5, right? 4 upon 5 is 4. All right, so 14 by 5 and 4 by 5 are the radical centers, coordinates of radical center of the circle. All right, I hope now this point is clear. Now I'll do another question. All right, so now find the equation of a circle which cuts circles x square plus y square minus 9 is equal to 0, and x square plus y square minus plus 12 is equal to 0, and x square plus y square minus 10x plus 16 is equal to 0 orthogonally. Okay, so calculation it's a very simple question. I have already told you the concept. Now third circle, let me correct. This is 10y, is minus 10y. Alright, yeah. Now solve it. So radical center is center of such circle, right? We know that from radical center, if you draw a circle whose radius is equal to length of tangent, then it will cut all three circles orthogonally. So first you should find the radical center, and then you'll find the radius of that circle by finding the length of tangent, and then you can do it, okay? So I've told you the process, so now let's do it. This is say circle S1, this is circle S2, and this is circle S3, alright? So if I find S1 minus S2, first radical axis, okay, L1, say L1. So that is basically, if you subtract, it is going to be 8x, okay, minus 12 minus 9 is equal to 0. So you'll get 8x is equal to 21, right? So, okay. So this is, anyways, x is equal to 21 by 8. That is the x coordinate of center. In fact, line, because this line is a vertical line, so center will lie on that, so obviously x coordinate will remain same. Now second, if you do S1 minus S3, why am I taking S1? Because it has less number of terms, so it's better to write S1 minus S2, this radical axis. This is going to be 10y, this is going to be 10y minus 16 minus 9 is equal to 0, right? So in this case, you will get 9 plus 25, so y is equal to 25 by 10, 25 by 10 is 5 by 2, alright? So these are the centers. So now you know you have got the radical centers of these three circles. You have got the radical center. Now you need to find the length of tangent, okay? So you can choose any of the circle to find the length of tangents, because all 6 tangents are of equal length, right? So I'll choose this S1 because this has less number of terms, right? So radius is equal to under root of S1. Under root of S1 is nothing but it is 21 by 8 the whole square plus 5 by 2. 5 by 2 can be written as, if you want to make the denominator same, then you can write it uh, 20 by 8, 20 by 8, yeah, so 20 by 8 the whole square, all right, and minus 9, okay, this is, so 9 into 8 upon 8, okay, it should be 64 actually. So now you can simplify it, and after simplifying it, you can write the equations. You have got the center and radius, so I'm not simplifying this. You can write it. So x minus this point, this is the center, okay? So x minus 21 by 8 the whole square plus y minus 5 by 2 the whole square is equal to square of this, which is 21 by 8 the whole square plus 20 by 8 the whole square minus 9, okay? This is the answer. So I hope you got this point. Now, one very good question based on this. three circles are drawn on the sides of a triangle ABC. Wait a minute. Drawn on the sides AB, BC, and CA as diameters okay, of triangle ABC. Then radical radical center of the circles coincide with the first option, centroid of the triangle. Second, circumcenter of the triangle. Third, orthocenter of the triangle. Fourth, incenter of the triangle. Right? These four options. So three circles are drawn on AB, BC, and CA as diameters of triangle ABC. Okay. So sides are of AB, BC, CA. Okay. I'll make the diagram for you. You just try this question and then we'll solve it. So it's like this. I'll tell you the thing. If this is BC, then you need to make a circle on this side as diameter, alright? They like this is one of the circle. This is another circle, right? Like this. And this is like another circle. It's a very interesting problem, okay? You need to solve it geometrically, okay? If it has a geometrical solution, you can do it easily. So try this one, then we'll discuss. You need to check whether radical axis, see, centroid lies on the medians, circumcenter lies on the perpendicular bisector of sides, orthocenter lies on the altitudes, and incenter lies on the angle bisectors. So you need to check whether radical axis becomes angle bisector or center or sorry, altitude or median. Okay, so that is the main point. That is the main thing to check. But of course, it will not be perpendicular bisector because perpendicular bisector does not pass through vertices. But perpendicular bisectors do not pass through vertices. Okay, all three perpendicular bisectors. But radical axis you can see because circles are intersecting at vertices, so the radical axis will pass through uh, vertices. So they can be either median or ortho or altitude or angle bisector, but certainly cannot be perpendicular bisector always if it is not equilateral triangle. So we are doing it for general triangle. So yes, that is not the case. So that means by that logic we can eliminate circumcenter at least. Now remaining three options, which one is correct? You need to figure it out. All right, so let's do it. I'll do it on the next. Let me mix this diagram slightly bigger. If I draw a circle on this side as diameter, let's take these two circles, and this is another side, okay, like this. Oh, sorry. This is a diameter, so it looked like diameter. So these are two sides. I have made two circles. Third circle I'm not making. That is not required. We just need to figure out whether radical axis is median or angle bisector or altitude, right? Diagram we need to draw properly. So this is the triangle ABC, okay? Now you can see radical axis is going to pass through A and D, right? So this is the line, radical axis. This is the radical axis, this line is radical axis. A, D, this is the radical axis, alright? Now let's see whether this line is altitude or, so how to figure it out? Can you see the center of this circle? Say this circle, center of the circle is C1 and the center of the circle is C2. So C1 is the midpoint, C1 is the midpoint of A and B, C2 is the midpoint of A and C, right? So if you join C1 and C2, if you join C1 and C2, the C1, C2 will be parallel to BC, right? C1, C2 will be parallel to BC. Why? Midpoint theorem. In any triangle, if you join the midpoints, the line joining midpoints will be parallel to the base, and it is of length half of the length of base, right? So length is not our concern. First of all, we have got to know that C1, C2 is parallel to AB, right? C1, C2 is parallel to, BC. Second, we know that radical axis L is perpendicular to C1, C2. Hence, L is perpendicular to BC as well, right? Because C1, C2, we know this property that radical axis is perpendicular to line joining centers, right? So radical axis is perpendicular to line joining centers. So radical axis is perpendicular to BC as well, right? So now we know that this say AE is nothing but altitude of this triangle. Similarly, the other radical axis will also be altitude. This radical axis will also be altitude, right? And this radical axis will also be altitude, okay? So all three radical axes are going to be altitudes. So hence their point of intersection is going to be the orthocenter of the triangle. So radical center will coincide with the orthocenter, okay? Orthocenter. So if you draw three circles on the sides of a triangle as diameters, then their radical center will coincide with the orthocenter of the triangle. So I hope now this point is clear. Okay, so I'll end this topic here. So thank you very much for watching this video, and subscribe the channel and like and share it, and also use the code JEET1 to get instant 10% discount. And if you are a new learner, then you can access unlimited free content on the platform using the same code. All right, so okay, take care, thank you very much.